to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Really want to send a special shout out to everyone that supports us on Patreon and sends us love donations through PayPal. We appreciate, love you so much. And yeah, thanks to everyone that likes and shares the videos, beloveds, so that the word can get out more. Now, we've witnessed 3 coups in West Africa in literally 5 months, and who is behind it? Does France have a hand in it? These are absolutely important questions that we must ask themselves. Now, some people are arguing that, we should give the military coup leaders a chance to see, maybe even if they were trained by France, maybe they'll actually show that then, that they're against France, blah, blah, blah. But it is very important for us to recognize that one of the most common systems of regime change that France has always implemented has been coup d'etats, because they train our military, they equip, most of the West African military. They're the ones providing the logistics, etc., etc. So can we really say that when a militia comes forward, it is not in support? So we saw, of course, 2 coups in 9 months happening, in Mali, almost back to back. And we also saw in recent months Chad's leader Idriss Deby, he was killed in battle, and Mali, as I said, experienced its 2nd coup in 9 months, and now we've just had the Guinea military coup. And before I go into why I think France is involved, I just wanted to give you these crazy statistics, beloveds. So Africa has actually experienced about 200 successful and unsuccessful coups in the last, let's say, since independence. So in the last 50 something years, less than 60 years. 16 West African nations have gone through 44 successful coups. There's actually there was actually a document that was written that said at least 22 of those were backed by the French or had the French influence. I think that it was a WikiLeaks day when all this information came out. 43 bloody unsuccessful coups, failed coup attempts, and 82 coup plots. And we, the thing is, what we've often seen is we have to question, beloveds, why so much instability in West Africa? And they'll tell you failed state, dictators, etc., etc. They've also had almost 7 civil wars, beloveds, in that region. And this shows you that it's almost like that region has been fighting for its independence since it got the fake independence from Babylon. And the foreign French hand has been, whenever they see the people uprising coming, or whenever a leader refuses to implement their agenda, they just take him out with a coup. That's what happened? Because let's not forget that in June, France actually scaled down, and they had been operating in Mali, Chad, Mauritania, Niger, and Burkina Faso. 2 of those nations have now had military coups, and the leader, because you see what France said is they were only going to work with countries that transitioned to democracy. So it's almost like, were they predicting the coup? And I found this really interesting article. It was talking about the overthrowing of civilian governments by military in West Africa, what is behind it. And this article, it was actually written, The West Hand in African Coup d'etats. It was written by Michael Donnier last year, 2020, beloveds. And he said, most of the coups in West Africa are instigated by Western powers' interference in political regimes and imposition of foreign policies that breed militia in the oil, gas, gold, and uranium-rich region. Those are all the things that France is actually exporting out of the region. They say Paris, for instance, is known to support militias if the governments fail to meet their interests, as the case in Libya. They also say in Mali, France has been backing a regime that citizens have been rejecting. Both ways, governments are overthrown, perennial political instability is normalized, and human rights violated. And France has been known to do this. And as much as Alpha Conde, he should have retired. He should not, and then these leaders don't even groom anyone with a Pan-Africanist kind of mind to take over from them. But he had actually, even though he had donated, this is the recently deposed president of Guinea, even though he donated 2 million euros to the rebuilding of the freaking Notre Dame Cathedral in France, he was also becoming increasingly critical and was one of those voices that was saying that, the French tax has to end. Have you noticed how even the whole discussion of the French tax and the new West African currency, all of that has kind of disappeared? Because of the increasing backlash. And you see, what France is trying to do in West Africa is like there is an increasing anti-France sentiment, which is why they had to pull their troops, who the BBC reported were 51,000 strong. Damn. And you say that's not an occupying force? So they had to actually withdraw a lot of these troops from the West African region because, there's so much anti-French sentiment across West Africa. I mean, recently, I think in June or July, there was some kind of demonstration against French shops in Senegal. And all, shops were destroyed, etc., etc. But it's like every time any West African nation is trying to wiggle themselves out of the control of France, a military coup happens. So that's why I'm saying we have to really watch, and as the people, because so many of us are sheeple, beloveds, we'll see them coming out and celebrating. So the first coup, a lot of Malians came out at the first coup in Mali. A lot of Malians came out and were like celebrating and cheering the military on. But 9 months later, the second coup that has happened, it's almost like the Malians they're not even fazed by it. But we have to ensure that, Babylon doesn't continuously, France doesn't continuously continuously hijack our revolutions, the revolutions of the young people, and put their people in place, because that's what they keep doing, beloveds. And they keep our people going round and round like headless chicken. So this is why we need to start dealing with some of these things spiritually. And I actually have a French channel. I think I've just put my first French show up there, so definitely go and check it out. But we need to start doing things spiritually, beloveds. And steering things with our minds, with our conversations, supporting the activists like Kemi Saba. I absolutely love what he does. Because these people, like the French, have spies everywhere. They have informants everywhere. They're constantly reading the mood of the people. And so these politricks keep the people docile as their gold, their uranium, their, precious metals are just continuously taken and siphoned off to continuously fund France. So with these three coups, was France involved? I think we have to keep a very strong eye. I love to hear from you in the comments below. But just to think, 44 successful coups in the last 50 odd years. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tuko pamoja.